What's up guys, it's the Unhinged Engineer here. Today I have a bit of a different video from usual. Also, if I sound different from usual, it's because I am on the tail end of a cold. The worst is behind me, but it's still lingering a little bit. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, first of all, thank you. But second of all, you've probably noticed my upload frequency has been pretty low the last couple weeks, lower than I'd usually like. There's a few reasons for that, but the main one is I really had a bad run-in with burnout. I want to say almost a month ago, maybe a little bit less than a month. Serious burnout. And I say this as somebody who, to be honest, kind of didn't really think burnout was a real thing, or at least thought that when most people say they're burned out, they're just being lazy, which I know is a super harsh perspective to have, but I'm just trying to be honest with you guys. I was kind of always a plow through, shut up and do the work kind of guy. And so I would never use the word burnout, regardless of how much I was working. But I think, honestly, my experience in the last month really taught me a valuable lesson that there's working hard, there's working too hard, and then there's burnout. And all three of those things are very different for different people. But I definitely learned a valuable lesson that don't underestimate crossing the threshold from, working hard and being a normal, healthy amount of tired, dare I say, to actually being completely burned out and having it affect almost every aspect of your life, which is kind of the point I got to, and which is why I want to share it with you guys today. So yeah, before we get into that, I'm the Unhinged Engineer. I mostly make professional development content for other engineers like myself. I'm pretty early on in my career and there's a lot to learn. And so I've been trying to share the lessons I've been learning with you guys as I go. And so if that's interesting to you, or my grad school vlog is interesting to you, definitely like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, let's just get into kind of honestly what burning out really meant and really was like for me over the last month. So I want to give you guys some context first. As I've mentioned in previous videos, a lot has been going on in my life for about the past year. Effectively, I started grad school because that began in January. So I'm doing a part-time program while I continue to work. Speaking of that, I got a new job in end of spring, start of summer. Got a new job, moved several states away from home. Well, several states away from where I was living, which was already several states away from home. That's the point. Moved very far, got engaged. Also, this YouTube channel is not that much older than grad school. I started this channel in October last year, so it was still pretty fresh at that point. I barely knew what I was doing. I barely know what I'm doing now. And so there was this confluence of new things all going on in my life all at once, which was way faster than I had anticipated. I kind of had this natural progression in my mind of I'll go to grad school and try to get the hard classes out of the way. And then depending on how things are going at the current job I had, maybe then I'll start to look for a new one. At that point, maybe thinking about starting to get engaged and stuff, and then ramping up the channel slowly. All those things happening more quickly, and then the personal life stuff as well happening really quickly. It's been a lot. And so for the last, I want to say almost 6 months, a little bit less than 6 months, I did the math, and I was typically working almost 70 hours a week, because roughly my new job is 50 hours a week, give or take, and then school would be 10 to 15 hours a week, depending on whether it was an exam or a big project coming up, stuff like that. And then the YouTube channel would be 5 to 10 hours a week, depending on what I was trying to put out. So that equates to roughly 65, 70 hours a week, pretty consistently every week, because if something wasn't going on at work, and something was going on for school, and if something was going on for school, and something was going on for work, or the channel, blah, blah, blah. So there was no rest for the wicked. And 70 hours a week was honestly a shit ton to sustain every week for as long as I have. And that's not even including the stresses of moving away several states and getting engaged, starting to plan a wedding, yada, yada, all the other stuff that's just a part of life. It's been a lot. And so I was pushing through, slowly kind of eroding. And when I say eroding, I really just mean my body, for lack of a better word. Wasn't sleeping as well, wasn't eating well, gained a little bit of weight. Kind of just looked run down. I would get the Italian mother cheek pinches of you don't eat enough. The reality was I was eating too much. But, just kind of slowly running myself into the floor. And I'm not even considering that burnout yet, because I'm still a purist. Despite my take from the beginning of the video being kind of harsh, I do believe there are seasons of life where you have to focus more or less on certain things. And so I just envision this as a period of my life where I'm focusing on work and I'm focusing on setting up my new life, in a new place. Those were the two things. YouTube kind of had to get deprioritized a little bit. Same thing went for school. I would say you should never deprioritize your health, because the health is the foundation of everything in your life. I definitely believe that. But I kind of went against my own belief system, which could explain how I got where I got and why my nose is super stuffy right now. And so I'm just kind of running myself into the floor. But the hard part here was everything was great. Like, I love my new job. I love all the stuff I'm doing. It's super exciting, super engaging. I love the people I work with. And I'm getting married. All this exciting stuff. Like, these are all great things. I think if they were bad things, I may have caught on to the fact that I was doing the wrong thing by deprioritizing myself and my health sooner. But because it was good stuff, I just kind of thought I was like paying the piper. Like, this is what you got to do. And so I kept like running myself on the floor harder and harder and harder until eventually I had a very, very negative experience with my current course for grad school, computational photography. So if you've been following my vlogs, I honestly have not enjoyed this class at all. And I think I'm not really ready to talk about what happened yet, but needless to say, I had a very negative experience talking to the instructors about certain things, and it just kind of like completely threw me off kilter. For the record, if you're in OMSCS, you probably know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, but I will leave that for a separate video. I do plan to talk about it at some point, but this is not the time. The point is, I had a really, really negative experience with this course that I was already kind of soured on, and that effectively pushed me over the edge. I was initially planning to take next semester off, so I wanted to kind of push through to December, go home for the holidays, like reset, give myself a few months to recuperate, and more importantly, get everything in order, because I think there's certain aspects of my life, the main one being my health, that I haven't adjusted to this new phase yet. Like, I haven't caught back up to, cooking every night and sleeping right and working out on a regular schedule. I haven't done those things because I'm still in chaos mode from when I moved out here. So I had already been planning to do that, and I was just trying to push through to like the end of the year, the end of 2025. This negative experience caved me in. I was completely done. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to drop out of school. I got to stop. Like, I don't give a shit. Really, really bad headspace. And I felt that way, honestly, for a better part of a week or maybe even 2, which was really, really, that was not a feeling I'd had in a long time. I didn't post any videos, I don't think, during that week. Really, really low point. Effectively feeling like I failed. Which, saying that out loud now is kind of ridiculous because I still have my job, still have the channel, still have good relationship with friends and family, and I'm not even out of school. I effectively failed nothing. By the way, I didn't even fail the assignment that this negative experience was related to, right? Everything was fine, which again, probably clues in whoever's in the program to what I'm talking about here. But yeah, for whatever reason, it honestly just pissed me off so much that it set me off and it set me over the edge. And so I kind of completely divorced myself, especially from school, but even also from, like, I took a little bit of PTO, like, to take a breather. I didn't go out anywhere. I didn't do anything crazy. I did spend some time with friends, actually, which was helpful. But aside from that, I didn't do anything, adventurous in any way. And I just kind of, like, hard, like, factory reset, like, opened in safe mode for a couple weeks. And it taught me a lot, I think. And I think I have a much better definition of burnout than what I had before, which my definition of burnout before was effectively like hokey. Like, burnout is just what people say when they're getting lazy. Which, again, I don't mean to rage bait anybody by saying that, but I'm just trying to be honest with you guys. To be blunt, I am a hardworking person. I'm a very ambitious person, and I'm also a stubborn person in my worst moments. And the stubborn part of me was like, I don't get burned out. That's just not my thing. and that's foolish, right? And I've learned that lesson, and I'm going to think about this in a much healthier way going forward. And I think, by the way, when I have more organized thoughts about burnout and handling burnout and all that stuff, I'll probably make a follow-up video to this in some way. But for right now, I just want to share, my experience with you guys. So what I realized about burnout here was effectively, I think the point where I crossed that threshold from working too hard, which I had been doing for several months, to actually burned out and really needed to take a second, was when it started affecting everything in my life. It went from, okay, school is stressful, so my grades go down a little bit. Or I'm uploading videos too much, so the quality goes down a little bit. It went from isolated, kind of, I'm a little bit burned out here. Burned out, see, I'm already using the word. I'm working a little bit too hard here, let me dial that back and dial this up and then dial that back, and like kind of just doing the usual load balancing of life. Going from that to just like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I'm just going to sit at home and play Arc Raiders for 12 hours. Like, that's what I'm going to do on my Saturday. But you better believe I did that, by the way. Like, I'm just going to sit at home and do nothing and, like, eat like crap and play video games all day. Like, I can't make a video. I can't do homework. I can't work on my job. I can't even spend time with my fiance, or I don't want to call my parents. I just want to lay around and do nothing. Like, that feeling of total collapse, that, like, cave in of my character in a way of who I am, completely caught me off guard. That was the transition point at which I was like, okay, this is serious. Like, I really need to sort this shit out. I need to look in the mirror and figure out what's going on. And to me, I kind of think about it like soreness versus injury here. If you're thinking about like weight training, if you go to the gym and you train hard, you're going to be sore. Even if you're Chris Bumstead, when you go to the gym, if you work hard enough, you're going to come out, you're going to be sore. And that's normal. That's your body building muscle, which is what you went to the gym to do. You train to get sore. You train to get sore. You train to get sore. But each time, A, you're recovering, which is important, and B, you're getting better. So you get a little bit less sore, or the amount of weight it takes, or amount of volume it takes to get you sore gets higher. Like, your working capacity gets higher. An injury is you go to the gym, you do a rep, and you hear something pop or tear or snap, God forbid, right? And immediately all function is that's an injury. You can't power through that. To get back to my stubborn opinion from the beginning of the video, like, you can't just keep working. You're not just being a baby by saying that you tore your pec off the bone, right? Like, that's a serious freaking injury. And the only way to get through that is not to push forward, but to take a step back and reevaluate and heal and recuperate. To me, that is the dividing line between soreness and an injury. Same thing here from kind of working hard versus burning out. Now, an important distinction here is that even though soreness and injury and working hard versus burning out, like, these are different things, they're very related. Like, a lot of times people get injured when they're training too hard for too long and they run themselves down into the floor, and then something acute happens. So that's exactly what happened with me here, right? Like, I'm working 70 hours a week over and over and over again for like almost 6 months. And then something that as an adult, as like a grown man, I should be able to emotionally handle, but something comes along that just like freaking rocks me and immediately throws me off kilter. And now I can't do anything. My brain is effectively injured. That's a little dramatic, but whatever. The chronic overtraining is what leads to the injury. And so the chronic overworking is what leads to the burning out here. And that's the point at which I realized, oh, that's the difference between these two terms. Now, are there not people out there who are probably just overworking, or maybe even like not working that hard and they're just being a little lazy and they say they're burned out just as like a coping mechanism? Yes, of course there's those people. Just because some people abuse certain terminology, that doesn't mean that the terminology is unfounded. And I definitely realize that about burnout myself. Point here being that delineation between soreness versus injury, overworking versus burnout, that was in hindsight where I think it really went over the edge. And even though the event that set me over that edge was acute, I think the vulnerability that led to me going over the edge was chronic. It was just me working too hard for too long. Another thing here is that effect on like morale. I think in every aspect of my life, I try to be a pretty positive person. I'm only good at working hard on things that I care about and excited about and passionate about. And so usually, if I believe in the mission of whatever I'm doing, like grad school or this channel for you guys or my real job, I can work pretty damn hard. And no matter how hard I work, my belief in that doesn't waver, right? Because the belief in that is what's driving me. And again, the burnout really undermined that vision I have for myself and for each area of my life here. Like, I just didn't give a shit, to be honest with you. I just stopped caring. Like, my passion for all the things I'm doing got completely overrode by this like malware in my head that was burnout, right? And again, that's how you get stuff like not doing anything and playing video games all day and whatever else. And so, yeah, that was a very qualitative shift there. That was really where I realized you got to figure this shit out, man. Like, this is getting really serious. And so, yeah, I think, not to kind of therapize here, but I think I did the right thing by kind of taking a step back. I took some PTO, which, to be honest, was ill-timed PTO, but I'm grateful I have good people I work with. And I could take just like a day for myself, like literally one day. This was a huge, huge difference. So taking a day, taking the pressure off myself to post videos at the frequency I've been doing. Also, in terms of school, just kind of like completely honestly putting it out of my brain and saying like, I'm going to do the bare minimum to get through the rest of this class. If I get a C, like a 71, I do not care. I just want to be done with this. Accepting all of those things and kind of carving out some room for myself really, really helped. Now, it didn't help that I got sick right after, because I was really excited to take all the time I finally gave myself to go back to the gym and start getting healthy again. And of course, I immediately get very sick, which sucks. But nonetheless, like even despite that sickness, it was really, really important that I took a breath for myself. And I think it worked, because we're sitting here about like 3 or 4 weeks, since launch, since launch of the Burnout update in my life. And I honestly feel much better. I mean, the plan to take next semester off has not changed, which by the way, I'm going to make an official vlog video announcing that. So this is like an unofficial announcement for anybody watching ahead here. That plan stays. And I think more importantly than anything kind of acute that I could do, like taking that off, also this recognition that I really, really need to get the systems in my life back in order. That has become more and more apparent, because I know myself, I know what I can do, and I know I can work hard enough to do all these things. Or whether or not I want to continue with school or with anything else, I'll make those decisions later when I'm of more sound mind. But I know for myself, like, there are systems that I've had in my place before that improve my working capacity, my performance envelope, however you want to phrase that. I can do more. It's just the difference is I've exhausted willpower. Willpower can get you so far, and it's gotten me pretty damn far. I'm happy with where I'm at, but there's a saying in first response or in the military, you don't rise to the level of your expectations, you fall to the level of your training. And in the same way, I'm thinking like, you don't rise to the level of your willpower, you fall to the level of your systems. I think that's really, really true, and I kind of forgot that, and I kind of just continuously deluded myself into thinking, if I care enough, I can do anything. That's just not true. That's not the way life works. And people who go and achieve their wildest dreams, you watch interviews with celebrities, they tell you corny shit like chase your dreams or follow your passions. They tell you all these lofty, desire-driven advice. But if you really sit down with somebody who's successful, especially in real professional work, like not being an actor, I'm talking about being an engineer or whatever else, it's about the systems they put in place in their life. Right? Whether those are systems related to their health, or it's modes of operation in their relationship, like how they set up their relationship with their partner or with their friends, how close they live to work, or can they work at home, like all these little unsexy things, these little unsexy systems and details in your life really, really compound to affect the actual envelope of your performance, like all the possible things that you could or could not achieve. And then the willpower helps you go and achieve them. But the bounds of that equation are defined by the systems in your life. And I've effectively let all those systems in my life collapse, and that's how I got to where I'm at, taking a couple weeks off, not uploading any videos, almost dropping out of school, but thankfully preserving, the really important stuff, which is my relationships with my friends and family and my real job. So we survived. We're okay. I'm okay. I will hopefully not be so nasally in a couple of days. I actually tried recording this video like last week, and it was such a marble mouth, incoherent mess that I just threw it out, and I was like, I gotta do this again today. So we're back. We made it. And yeah, I think I really, really learned a lot from this. And, I want to share this part of the journey with you guys. Like I said in the beginning, I'm making content for young professionals like me. I think if you're like me, you find yourself in engineering and technology and all this really exciting, important stuff, and it's overwhelming. It's incredibly overwhelming. And no matter how hard you work or how ambitious you are, it still can get overwhelming. And so, I want to share the highest of the highs with you guys. I also want to share the lowest of lows with you guys. And this definitely fell into the latter, but I feel like I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for the experience, as I am for almost every experience I have that's recoverable. And this definitely was. We're back. We're going to be good. We're going to be okay. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys kind of my first bout with burnout. Never really something I've experienced before. Like I said, I kind of had closed-minded opinions about what burnout is before this experience, and I've definitely learned my lesson, and I think I'll be able to handle it, or ideally prevent it much, much better in the future as a result, and that's why I'm grateful. So thanks a lot for watching. I'm the Unhinged Engineer, and yeah, I will see you in the next video.